Here we go. UFC 316. Sam and Joe back with you for the draft show ahead of another UFC pay-per-view. Obviously, Merab Dvalishvili against Sean O'Malley. The rematch headlines us in New Jersey on Saturday night. We've got a women's bantamweight title fight as well. A double bantamweight banger this card with Juliana Pena against Kayla Harrison. And a pretty decent card as well. The likes of Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Pyfer, Mario Batista, Patchy Mix making his UFC debut, and Vincente Luque against welterweight Kevin Holland. Filling up your main card. We'll get stuck into all the fights with myself and Joe and pick our squads ahead of Saturday night's action. But first, let's check in with Joe Me the Money Harrison, who's not only a UFC expert, rugby league expert, but I saw he was having a do at the darts last night, weren't you, Joe?
Yeah, it was for Luke Gale's testimonial. So, apologies, I'm a bit cloudy-headed today. A couple too many Guinness. Fans of the show will know I definitely drink my Guinness, and I had a couple too many last night, to be honest, Sam. I had to go against Joe Cullen. I think I hit 112, 130, got down to the doubles. I was going toe for toe with him. I think he were about 9 in, so I think he were a bit more wobbly-eyed than me. And then I couldn't hit my doubles, Sam. I couldn't hit my doubles. He ended up on double one to give. I think he obviously giving me the win. And I couldn't hit my doubles, so eventually took out the double one, put me out my misery. But yeah, great, good do last night. Somewhat, I think, a do that other people should have a look at doing the darts. It was great fun. It wasn't the normal, typical speeches and a couple of beers or whatever goes on. It was something different. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Nice. So there we go. Joe adding darts to his resume and a few Guinnesses last night. We'll see if that can help him make some picks. UFC 315. I think, did we draw? I can't remember. Did we draw again? I think we did.
I think we did with that one. Oh, I said I can't remember now. It was a while ago, wasn't it? I'll have to. I should know, to be honest with you, Sam. I can't remember.
But I think it was a draw. I think we had another late draw. I think yeah. Let's have a quick look. I had Saint Denis a winner. Yeah, Bakauskas a winner. Jazz Vicious as well. And then yeah, so I had 3 up there in the first 3. Then I had Manon Fiorot and Belal. Who are both losers, of course. You had Jose Aldo, who lost controversially, maybe again, and putting his gloves down in the octagon. Charles Radke also lost, didn't he? He was well fancied by many, but he got beaten by Mike Malott. Navajo Sterling won. Valentina Shevchenko won, and you predicted and the new Jack Della to get the win. So a 3-3 draw in the end at UFC 315 for the draft. So we've had quite a lot of draws this year. So might need a tweak to the format or something like that. But yeah, it's pretty much neck and neck every time. But we'll see how we get on this time. Before we start, Joe, as ever, just give us a quick run through of the rules meeting ahead of the draft.
Yeah, both get to pick, obviously, 5 rounds, 5 fighters each. It's a snake draft, which means whoever picks first picks second in the next one. So second pick gets 2 picks in a row. And we rattle it down all the way down to round 5. We'll talk about the bets and all the other things in between. But yeah, nice and simple, Sam. Hopefully, long-time viewers know the crack, and we'll get straight into it.
We will. I think I can't remember who went first last time or not. But do you want to take the honors this time?
I'll take the honors, Sam. Yeah, I don't mind. I appreciate that. I'll go first. Round 1, and I'm taking him. And it's his name. His name, maybe to UFC only viewers, might be a shock. You might not know it. But he's been a champion in Bellator. He was a big coup when they got him. And I think I had to pick him first, Sam. His name is Patchy Mix. He's, like I said, he's coming from being a Bellator champion, really highly rated. Only lost once before in his career. He's against Mario Batista, who's only lost twice, to be fair to him. But Patchy Mix is the real deal. I think he's going to be a top fighter in that bantamweight division that probably needs a bit of Well, it probably needs a bit of new life. Obviously, we're watching the main event of Merab, Sean O'Malley. I think if he makes a big impact, he's probably one fight away from getting the winner of them two. Maybe gets the champ fight straight away if it's that impressive. He's that big of a name in the MMA world. He's a very well-rounded fighter, and I think he'll be a challenge to either Sean or Merab once he gets to that title fight.
Yeah, I like it. I liked his attitude as well this week coming in. He's talking a bit of trash. He's full of confidence. And that's what it needs, I think, as the UFC, doesn't it? We're kind of lacking a bit of that. Someone that's coming in going, Joe, I'm going to win. I'm going to choke you out. I'm going to choke your team out. I'm doing the business this weekend, like it or not. So I hope he follows up and gets it done. And like I say, breathes a bit of new life into that division, but I think into the UFC as well. And just a few more people selling fights. We've had Juliana Pena selling the fight really well with Kayla Harrison as well. You know, talking some trash. The ladies are the ones talking the trash, and it's at times it's getting a bit too respectful for me. We need a bit of this chaos in there. So I like the fact that Patchy's come in and he's not afraid to give it. I'm going to go on my first round pick. I think I'm going to go for Joe Pyfer to beat Kelvin Gastelum. Obviously, this one was scheduled for Mexico City in March. Originally, Pyfer had some food poisoning. Late on, the fight was called off, and so that fight being at altitude, maybe a bit of a worry for Pyfer a little bit. Obviously, we know about Kelvin. You know, he's a big guy in that middleweight division for the wrong reasons, probably. You know, if he really tested himself, could probably still be having a challenge down at 170. So I think, you know, with his form, if you look at Gastelum over the last 2 years, campaigning at middleweight, he's 3-6. He's losing to the likes of Cannonier, Whitaker, Hermanson, Till when he was there. Obviously had that banger with Adesanya that was in the Hall of Fame, an inductee quite recently. But I think Joe Pyfer's got his number. I think he's a big guy for this division. Hits hard. Gastelum's never been stopped, has he, by strikes? He has been submitted a couple of times, and I think Pyfer could potentially win in both areas. I think as we get to, I mean, he's only 33, Gastelum, but he's got a lot of miles on the clock, and one day that chin may go. Pyfer could find it, but I think he could win the wrestling exchanges here, and I think he could get something on the ground potentially, just like his training partner Sean Brady did against Gastelum when he did drop back down to welterweight a couple of years ago. So I'm on the Pyfer train for this one. I think he's at this stage in 2025, he is better than Kelvin Gastelum and can get the job done this weekend, and I think you can look good doing it too.
Yeah, with you. I think great pick, Sam. He would be my next if he were available. Like you said, you mentioned it there. It's going to be the pure size difference between these two fighters. It's going to look like, I think, a bit crazy once they get in that ring. And Joe Pyfer is going to be that big, that dominant. He has a great wrestling. Submission grappling, background, which he's got a few big wins in that world, and is also known as having the most powerful. Apparently, I think that punch bag record is definitely up for debate. But he beat Francis Ngannou, who was a famous one punch thing on that mat that they have in the UFC Apex area. So he's got the power, he's got the grappling skills, and I think he's got the size. I think it's all a bad matchup for Kevin Gastelum. I'd be shocked if Kelvin Gastelum has much of anything to give here today, Sam. To be honest with you, so I think great pick, Joe Pyfer. It's back to you, Sam. Round two.
It is. I was just looking because they are, as we're recording or streaming this now, they are doing the weigh-ins. So we've got the title fights locked in. And I was just looking to see if Kayla Harrison made the 135, whether she cut the extra pound, and she has done. So she's going to be my next pick in this. I'm going to go for Kayla to be and the new against Juliana Pena, and I think it's not a fight really I've been looking too much at this week. I've kind of liked the bit of bad blood between them. The ladies trash talk is always entertaining. So even though I like Pena, I just don't think she's gonna have enough here. I think her best chance is kind of dragging it out late and seeing if Harrison gasses, having cut all that weight that she's, not used to being a lightweight back in the PFL days. But this is the third time, I'm asking now at 136, 135 now for the title. I think she's just going to be too strong. In the grappling, on the feet, not the best, but neither's Pena either. She's scrappy. She'll go for days. She's tough. She'll try and stay in there. But I think that Harrison just does too much. She's too strong. And she's going to be my pick in round 2.
I like it. Yeah, I'm not going against you on any of your picks so far, Sam, to be honest. I might get you here, though. And I'm going to steal your pick that you normally like. He's your man. You built your comments on this man, and I'm going to steal him right from underneath you. It's Kevin Holland, Sam. You knew it would come in.
No.
You
can't take welterweight Holland off me.
I've still welterweight Holland. You said you love him in that division. They've actually found someone who's similar age and similar amount of fights. Obviously, Kevin known for having a large amount of fights. So he's Vincente, but not as active in the last couple of years. Vincente had loads of fights in his younger years, and I think Kevin Holland, like you said, will have too much. He's too big, too athletic. He can grapple from the ground. I think Vincente has to dominate one of the areas. He has to be just good enough at grappling and beat you in the stand-up. And I don't think he's got either. Kevin's reach is just going to be so tough to handle as it always is, and why he's on a secret little win streak of his own. But yeah, I think Kevin probably for the first time. I think Kevin dominates this, Sam, and you've convinced me over the last couple of months that I'm on the Kevin Holland train. And I thought, you know what, I'm sneaking in under you. And it's Kevin Holland for me, Sam.
Yeah. No, I'd be taking Holland as well. I mean, I'm a big 170 Holland fan. I don't know. I'm happy that he's doing this now, and having a couple of fights here, because I do think he's top 15, knocking on door of the top 10. Obviously talks the talk. He's active, and I just think he can do this. And I think, Luke, not the same guy, as he once was he? After the Neil fight and the brain bleed, and then coming back against RDA, got that win, but then Buckley, put a beating on him. That he took a lot of shots on the ground against Buckley. That was a worry. Which then came back and beat Garimbo, but Garimbo still a green prospect, and against Kevin Holland, the guy that's got that experience, is long, hits hard, has the ground game. Like you said, I think it's Holland's fight, this one, against Luke, who's not the same guy as he once was.
Back to me, Sam, and I am going to butcher another name here. He's 14-0, and I think I've been watching a few videos on this, and they say the matchmaking is just terrible, and I can't agree as I can only agree as I'm looking more and more into it. It's Azamat Mirzakhanov. And I think I've actually got that one all right for the first time ever. Azamat Mirzakhanov is 14-0 in the UFC. He's against Brenton Ribeiro, who's 17-7. I think it's simple for this one. There's just a big talent difference here. 14-0. He is older. The only number that worries me is 36. So we'll see how that affects him if he's that bit slower. But I don't. He's coming off a win versus Alonzo Menifield. He's he's beat Dustin Jacoby. I think I watched that fight, Holloway versus I did watch that fight in 2023. Completely dominated Jacoby. Looked too good for him. He's beat Menifield since. There's just a big difference. Brenton Ribeiro coming off a win versus Dayar Nurgazai. Apologies for that one. And I think there's a difference, different in talent, different in who they're faced, and all answers for me. Azamat Mirzakhanov, nice and easy. Sam gets the win comfortably here.
Yeah, he was going to be my next pick if he didn't go. I fancy him as well to get the win. He just hits hard. The southpaw gets in and out of range. He is quite small though, isn't he, for the division? He's only 5'10", 71 inch reach. I think Ribeiro's got like a 10-inch reach advantage here, but he just closes the distance like really well. Left hook, overhand left is money. So I think he knocks him out and gets the win, which leaves me. You've depleted my squad here. Of, I had both those guys on my list as like top picks. So I'm just looking at who you might pick and who you might not pick. So I think I'm gonna go for a guy. I think it wasn't necessarily jumping out, but I think you normally go for this guy, which I thought you would have done a bit earlier. Josh Van to get the win. I think you picked him a couple of times in this in the flyweights. He faces Bruno Silva. He's real good prospect. He's making his way up the rankings now. I think he's into the top 15, well in, knocking on the door of the top 10 now. And this is the kind of guy, that could shake up the division. He's had his one setback as a prospect. He was knocked out by Charles Johnson in the third round last year in 2024, but he's bounced back and he's fought 3 times since then and got the win each time. Edgar Chairez, Cody Durden, Ray Tashura as well. So 3 in a row. He's fought already this year in March. He likes to stay fresh. He's a good stand-up fighter, fast, in your face, and obviously he maybe doesn't have the pop to get you out of there. But I think Bruno Silva's another good test for him, but I think he's got too much. Knocking on 35 now. Bruno Silva. I think the speed advantage very much with Van. Silva 4-3 in the UFC. He got beat by Manel Cap late last year, knocked out in the third round. That's his first appearance since. Was on a nice little win streak before that. But I think Josh Van, has got the potential to knock into the top 5 of this division, if he stays active, maybe by the end of the year, certainly early next. And I think he's just got a little bit too much at this stage for Bruno Silva. So Josh Van for me takes the win and is my round 3 pick.
It's back to you, Sam.
Okay. We've had a lot of heavyweight talk, haven't we, of the late? Still rumbles on. Dana in hiding. He's not showing his face at the press conference yesterday. Hopefully he does on Sunday morning. By the time we get to the post-fight press conference, he's there and he's not putting up some random dude to give the bonuses. So hopefully Dana shows up and gives us a heavyweight update. But in the meantime, we've got on this card Sergey Spivak against Waldo Cortez Acosta. And I've picked against Cortez Acosta twice now on this show, and I've lost both times. But will I learn my lesson? No, I won't. I'm going for Sergey Spivak to get the win here. Acosta has proved a tricky opponent to get beat so far, but I'm looking at those picks I made. I was badly wide of the mark with Despain, who's as we've seen go into karate combat, has lots of power, but in the UFC had zero ground game, and that was easy work. And then Ryan Spann, stepping up to heavyweight, again. A bad pick on the night. I was looking at the Kennedy and Shuku angle from the same gym, who'd stepped up and won, I think, 3 fights at heavyweight now. And Cortez Acosta did him as well, knocked him out in the second round. But Sergey Spivak, I think only loses to the top guys. And I don't see Cortez Acosta yet being a top guy. He's only got beat to Almeida, Gan, Aspinall. And that's looking back in the last 3 years. He was beaten by Tybura before that as well, but avenged that loss last year, submitted him in the first round. And I think he's made a lot of progress, Spivak. He's in the Almeida fight, which took place in January. He was on UFC 311, looked a little leader. He had Almeida in trouble in that first round, took him down, was landing some nasty ground and pound. Almeida, one of the better grapplers in the division, managed to get himself out. And in the end, did finish the fight in the first round, caught him towards the end of the first round, and then took him down and managed to get a ground and pound finish. Almeida there with the clock ticking down, 7 seconds left of the round. But I think, if you look at wins over Tybura, over Derek Lewis, over Saki, Greg Hardy, I think this he has made all finishes those as well. And I think if he gets you down, Spivak, he's either going to get the ground and pound win, or he's going to choke you out. He's got 3 KOs, 3 submission wins inside his 8 wins in the UFC so far, and I see the same here. I see him getting Cortez Acosta down, and I don't see him getting out like Almeida did, and I think he can finish this on the ground. So I'm with Sergey Spivak to get a win.
I like it. Yeah, I'm not going against you again, Sam. It's getting tough now because I feel like we've all agreed, we've all been pally. So I'm going to go an early prelim because I think we're both leaving the main event for the final one. Maybe reading into that. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to go someone who I watched, who I picked against in the last one because I rated his opponent. I was incredibly wrong, and this fighter actually really impressed me. His name's Quillen Salkilled. You're going to butcher me again for that one, but Quillen Salkilled. And I need to work on my pronunciation of names, or maybe just speaking English.
Words.
Maybe just words a moment. I think that them Guinness is kicking in that cloudy head. But yeah, I watched him against Ansel Jubli. Ansel Jubli, a Indian fighter who obviously I think, got beat pretty comfortably by Quillen. He, like I said, I thought Jubli had the stand up. Jubli lost his first ever fight. I thought, there's something there though. This Quillen, they didn't know what was coming. They thought Ansel would get the win and start his career, and Quillen knocked him out in the first round. I think he looked very impressive. He's a very athletic. I think he's an Australian fighter who's extremely athletic. Only 25 years old, got his whole career ahead of him, and he's against Yanal Ashmouz, who was a 30-year-old. He beat Trevor Peake in his last fight, but I think this Quillen's be too athletic, too quick, and he's 25, and I've got a feeling he'll make a name for himself here. Two knockouts, hopefully in a row, and he'll get pushed as the next Australian super kid coming through. Like I said, his fight against Jubli was just so impressive. Got some knockout in the first round, at the very end of it with 19 seconds left. I'm all over Quillen. Great fighter, and a lightweight to watch for you Australians.
Nice. And that is round 4 done. Is that where we're at? End of round 4.
Back to me, the final pick. This is where we'll disagree. It's the main event here. Maybe you'll agree with me. I don't know. Sam, I might put you in a difficult position here. My brain's telling me Merab. Not my heart. Sorry, my heart's telling me Merab. I think it's Sean O'Malley's time again. I've got a feeling. I love Merab. I watched a few videos, and it's true. I do worry about Merab's finishing ability. Like I said, he'll be in the ring there for. If he does, he's not going to finish Sean, or I highly doubt he'll finish Sean. He'll just maraud as he does. But giving Sean an hour against someone to not find one punch to knock him out or find that opening, I do worry about, because Merab's got no other. I love him as a fighter, love him as a personality. I actually really like him even his fighting, when he dominates, he'll do his daft things, he'll put on a show for you. He shouts at Sean to coach at the first round, and all that you get with Merab, brilliant. But I think it's time for the Sugar Show. He's made some big changes, and it's so easy to fall for these changes when they start coming out with them, start making out they're doing stuff differently. But I think he's given up a lot of his party lifestyle. He's made a lot of substantial changes to his life, to his training, and I've got a feeling he's going to do it. Like I said, an hour with Sean, with his power, with his speed, with his stand-up. It's a long time to not get caught once, and it's fighting. And Sean is a fighter at heart. Merab's an animal. an animal of destruction, a fitness absolute fanatic. But I think Sean O'Malley gets the knockout here, Sam, and that's my prediction.
Yeah, you have put me in a difficult position because this week I have picked O'Malley and some of the other stuff I've been doing. I have picked him. Similar reasons, but it's been close. It's not been it's more of the odds. He's the one worth taking a chance on, given the fact that he, stayed in the fight and won the 5th round. He hurt Merab in the 5th. Had a little bit of success in that 3rd as well. 2 of the 3 judges scored that 3rd round for O'Malley. So it was a 3-2 fight. The optics overall, it felt like a clear Merab win on the night. I think that's a little bit what we're seeing some of these fights of late. I think the Pereira Ankalaev one was one like that, where the optics of the 5 rounds together, it's a clear Ankalaev win, whereas you could make a case that Pereira wins definitely 2 of those rounds, potentially wins a 3rd round, because sometimes they start so slow in those first rounds that you're picking minimal off who wins a round. So that's what really annoys me in some of these championship fights, that a lot of fighters chuck the first round away. We've only got 5 to play for. This is not boxing. We can't drop a couple of rounds and then pick up the pace and download the data. You've got to finish the first round strong, in my opinion. But I'm going to take you on. I'm going to say that Merab can win this and do the same. Yeah, it's kind of, I've bought in when I've been doing that, as I've bought in, like you said, to the narrative, the torn labrum, the inability to grapple. And Sean has looked, good in some of the clips that we've seen on, Embedded and the countdown and all that kind of stuff. They look like they've had a much better camp. He's in a much better place. But we've kind of seen Merab already against Umar. And Umar started that fight well. Again, you have the broken hand narrative in that fight. Did he or not? Did he? How much did that play a part in those later rounds? But we saw that Merab broke his heart in that fight. He just kept coming, even though he had that early success. It didn't matter. It didn't matter in the end. Merab just kept going and going and going, and he broke him eventually, and just had the same success that he's had. And yeah, I don't always think Merab, he had those successful rounds against O'Malley where it was, I think he had over 3 minutes of control in the second and 4th. But whenever I look at Merab's fights, that's having the control time for a Sambo guy is not what he does. If you look at his actual stats, his takedowns and the way what he does is it's just persistence over dominance, that he just wants to disrupt what you're doing, and he's learned well within that to get better at his striking, and he'll throw a takedown, and on the way out he'll land a couple of strikes, and he'll win rounds like that. The fact that he'll throw you off your game plan, but then he's learned then to kind of counter that, even if he's not getting success. We go back the last 5 fights, 0 and 16 takedowns of 16 against Aldo, 11 of 49 against Jan, 5 of 11 against Cejudo, 6 out of 15 against O'Malley, 7 out of 30 against Nurmagomedov. So he doesn't need that. He doesn't need, O'Malley might have improved his grappling, which I thought when picking Belal, that's what Belal would do. Just keep trying, just keep going, but he didn't. So I'm going to go for the fact that Merab just goes to get this done. He knows there's a threat there. He knows it's going to be a different O'Malley, but he goes in with that same mindset that he did against Nurmagomedov, and he's just going to have his persistent way. His cardio's unrelenting. Obviously, the only worry with Merab is that this is his, I think, 4th fight in something like 16 months. It's a fight every 4 months. 3 of those have been championship fights, or will have been championship fights. So obviously there's that kind of broken toe, angle as well. So I think that's the chink in the armor where I worry about Merab, but we don't know what he's been into other fights with before. That he's not really one to talk about kind of injuries and knocks and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm thinking that Merab gets this done again, and can beat O'Malley. I'd like to see O'Malley win. I think that'd reignite the division, but if Patchy's going to come in and submit Batista, Patchy mix against Marab's a fight I definitely want to see. So, yeah, Marab, I'm going to go against you to keep the title on this one.
So that's it, Sam. I like it. Good one. A lot of agreements there. Yeah, I'm excited about tomorrow night.
Yeah, that was a good card. I like it. I think there's some of these ones that there's some good fights on there. I think we've got some nice picks there. There's potentially off the back of this one, there's some real nice juicy fights to potentially make as well. So the narrative beyond the pay-per-view is good as well, which off some of them, I think the last one there wasn't too many storylines coming out, where I think with this one, we've got whatever happens with the main event. You've got potentially Nunes coming back, Piper marching into the top 10 of that middleweight division. Kevin Holland, he'll call some shots, I'm sure. He's been talking about Belal and stuff like that this week. Patchy Mix potentially being a new contender. So there's so many kind of storylines there that are interesting off the back of it. So yeah, looking forward to this card.
Yeah. Run down your picks one last time.
Yeah, let's go through them. I had Joe Pyfer in the first, then Kayla Harrison to beat Pena. I had Josh Van as my third round pick, Sergei Spivak to get the fourth round pick, and then Marab and still my fifth and final round pick.
Okay, I've gone Patchy Mix in round number one. I went Kevin Holland. Sam's pick is devastated about that. I've got Azamat Mirzakhanov to dominate in his fight. Then I've got Quinlan Salkild. Quinlan. And then finally Sean O'Malley to get back the title and get that knockout that I think he's been getting ready for a while now. Great fight night. I think we've agreed on pretty much everyone except the main event, but I think I put you in the difficult position to go against what you think there, Sam. So, Bookie's favourite. We've agreed on them all. Big accumulators there, and let's make some money.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully a lot of the picks come in just before we finish. But before we get potentially an update from Dana, if he does pop his little bald head into the press conference on Sunday, what is your thoughts at the minute? What's going to happen with Jones Aspinall? Jones keeps talking, that he's happy to vacate and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, Dana said it will happen. Be patient. A few weeks ago, Tom's saying Jones is retired. UFC are posting that on their YouTube this week on the good guy, bad guy interview. What's your thoughts? How does it play out?
I don't want to be negative, Sam. I've got a feeling Jones is done. I've got a feeling he's just done a camp in Thailand. I don't like I said it's the boring, it's the sad one. I think we've got to get Tom fighting. Like I said, it's been over a year now. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. Obviously, John Jones. I think he timed his heavyweight venture spectacularly. Gone and got the title, but I don't think he is a heavyweight naturally. I don't think he should be a heavyweight. He looked slow. He looked cumbersome. And obviously, in both of his heavyweight fights, I've not been too impressed. He knows he can't handle Tom. And I think he's going to leave his career where it is and be called the GOAT. And Big Tom's going to have to go and fight some other fighters. I think, Sam. I'm sorry for the negativity, but I can't see John Jones accepting that fight.
Yeah, I have been quite positive that Jones was kind of playing it for a little while, but yeah, I don't know now. I'm kind of at the point where I am starting to lose my faith. I thought he was just playing the negotiation tactic at the end of the year, which still might be a possibility. But yeah, I think everyone, it needs a resolution pretty much now for Tom's sake and getting to fight again. So yeah, it looks like potentially Sorogan if that things do happen and the UFC do have to make a decision. And I think they do as well, just for the fact that they kind of force the hand of Islam to vacate and to make the Topuria fight. Topuria, vacated. So the movements have happened elsewhere. So I don't see how they can keep this going much longer. So hopefully we see Dana on Sunday and he can clarify a couple of things for us. But there we go. The picks are in. The draft is done. UFC 316. A lot of the fighters weighed in while we're doing this show. So I've not seen any weight misses. Certainly the title fights are all locked in. So we shall enjoy them with you on Saturday night, Sunday morning. And we'll be with you next time. Thanks again to Joe for joining us.
See you soon.